From catastrophe to technological takeovers, Nostradamus predicted a bleak world for us. Let's take a look at some of the most terrifying predictions he made that have yet to come true. Starting off this list today, we have global conflict. One of the quatrains that is often interpreted as predicting a future global conflict or a third world war is Century 2 Quatrain 62, quote, "Alas, what a great loss there will be to learning before the cycle of the moon is completed. Fire, great floods by more ignorant rulers. How long the centuries until it is seen to be restored?" Interpreters of this quatrain suggest that it predicts significant turmoil and destruction that would interrupt the progress of knowledge and civilization, possibly indicating a global conflict. The references to fire and great floods could be metaphorical for war and its widespread devastation, interpreted by some as nuclear or biological warfare, or massive natural disasters exacerbated by human conflict. Another relevant quatrain is Century 8 Quatrain 77, quote, "The Antichrist very soon annihilates the three. 27 years his war will last. The unbelievers are dead, captive, exiled, with blood, human bodies, water, and red hail covering the earth." This quatrain is often cited in the context of a third world war due to its mention of a lengthy conflict led by a figure many interpret as the Antichrist, symbolizing ultimate evil or a destructive political leader. The duration of 27 years and the catastrophic imagery evoke a sense of prolonged and devastating global war. Next up today we have a new religion. This is a prediction that comes from Century 1 Quatrain 53, quote, "The great Celtic law will be observed. It will be brought over from the depths of Europe. One who will cause the great Saxon law to perish, while the new law ennobles the lower class." Interpretation of this quatrain suggests a significant shift in societal norms and values, potentially indicative of a new philosophical or religious ethos. The great Celtic law might be symbolic of ancient, deeply rooted beliefs or ways of life, and its resurgence or acknowledgement could suggest a revival or new appreciation of old wisdom in a modern context, possibly manifesting as a new movement. The mention of it being, quote, "brought over from the depths of Europe" might imply that this change or movement has origins in European thought or is spread from Europe to other parts of the world. The idea of causing the great Saxon law to perish could symbolize the downfall or transformation of existing societal structures or dominant ideologies, indicating a significant shift in how societies operate or what they value. Lastly, the phrase, "while the new law ennobles the lower class," suggests that this new movement would have a profound social impact, potentially promoting greater equality or elevating the status of those less privileged. Next up today we have technological singularity. The concept of technological singularity refers to a hypothetical future point where technological growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, resulting in unforeseen changes to human civilization. Not terrifying at all, this idea is most often associated with the development of super intelligent AI that surpasses human intelligence. Probably not that hard. Of course, in the quatrains of Nostradamus, none explicitly mention the technological singularity or artificial intelligence, as these concepts were inconceivable during his time, but like all of these predictions, some interpreters suggest that certain quatrains could be construed to imply a future where humanity is deeply integrated with, or even overshadowed by its technology. One such quatrain, Century 2 Quatrain 91, reads, quote, "The gods will make it appear to mankind that they are the authors of a great war. Before the sky was seen to be free of weapons and rockets, the greatest damage will be inflicted on the left." Interpreters suggesting a link to technological singularity might focus on "before the sky was seen to be free of weapons and rockets," proposing that this could allude to a time before advanced technology dominated or threatened human existence. Next up we have global famine. Some interpretations of Nostradamus' work predict a future where the world will face severe famine or a shortage of food resources, potentially due to environmental changes, wars, or other catastrophic events. This prediction can be linked to several of his quatrains, but I think one quatrain often associated with the idea of global famine is Century 2, Quatrain 62, which reads, quote, "Near, far, the failure of the two great luminaries, which will occur between April and March. Oh, what a loss, but two great good-natured ones by land and sea will relieve all parts." In the context of a global famine, interpreters might view the, quote, "failure of the two great luminaries" as a symbolic representation of essential agriculture elements, like the sun and the moon, failing, leading to crop failures and subsequent famine. The time frame between April and March could be interpreted to suggest an unexpected or sudden event affecting global food production, and while this quatrain, like many of Nostradamus' predictions, is open to broad interpretation, those who link it to a global famine might argue that it foretells significant agricultural failures due to environmental changes or other disruptions. They might see the two great good-natured ones as individuals, nations, or organizations that would step forward to provide relief in the wake of such a crisis. Next up, we have the Asteroid Impact. An asteroid impact is a classic prediction that comes up every year, whether we're talking about Nostradamus, Baba Vanga, or any of the other mysterious prophets of the past. But when specifically speaking about Nostradamus, we have to take a look at the quatrain frequently associated with a catastrophic asteroid impact, which is Century 1, Quatrain 69. Quote, "A great mountain 7 stadia round." Interpreters often suggest that this line refers to a massive asteroid, envisioning it as a great mountain in the sky. The specific measurement, 7 stadia, has led some to speculate about the size of the asteroid, although Nostradamus' use of numbers is often seen as symbolic or allegorical. Quote, "After peace, war, famine, flooding." This sequence of events, peace followed by war, famine, and flooding, is interpreted as the global aftermath of the asteroid impact. The war and famine could result from the chaos and disruption that the impact would cause, while flooding might refer to tsunamis and rising sea levels as a result of the impact hitting oceans or causing polar ice to melt. Quote, "It will spread far, drowning great countries, even antiquities and their mighty foundations." This part of the quatrain is seen as describing the widespread destruction that would follow the asteroid's impact. Drowning great countries could refer to the inundation of coastal areas, while the mention of antiquities and their mighty foundations suggests that even the most historically significant and well-established places would not be spared. At our halfway point today, we have a massive earthquake. The prediction of a massive earthquake is often linked to various quatrains, with interpreters looking for clues that could point to specific geographical locations or times. One quatrain that is frequently associated with the prediction of a significant earthquake, particularly one that could impact the western United States, often thought to refer to California due to its seismic activity, is Century 9, Quatrain 83. Quote, "Sun 20th of Taurus is interpreted to mean a date, possibly around May 10th, when the sun is in the sign of Taurus. However, without a specific year, it's impossible to determine when exactly this is supposed to occur, so I guess we're all just left waiting and guessing. The phrase, quote, "The earth will tremble very mightily," suggests an earthquake of significant magnitude. The mention of ruining, quote, "the great theater filled," could be metaphorically speaking about a major city or region known for its cultural prominence, which some have linked to areas with significant population density or notable landmarks. The quatrain speaks of the air, sky, and land being darkened and troubled, which might be interpreted as the aftermath of a massive earthquake, potentially involving dust clouds, fires, or atmospheric disturbances. And the last line, where, quote, "The infidel will call upon God and saints," is often seen as indicating a time of widespread fear and desperation, promoting people to varied beliefs to seek divine assistance or just a little bit of comfort. Next up, we have the AI rise. While Nostradamus did not directly mention artificial intelligence or robots given the context of his 16th century perspective, that would be really crazy if he did, some interpreters suggest that certain quatrains could metaphorically allude to such advancements. In its modern context, some interpret the body without soul as a reference to robots or AI, entities that function like living beings or bodies, but lack human consciousness or a soul. The notion of day of death put for birth could symbolize the transition from traditional life forms to artificial ones, or perhaps the idea that AI would reach a point of birth or inception at a time significant to humanity. Quote, "The divine spirit will make the soul happy seeing the word in its eternity," might be seen as suggesting that this technological evolution could bring about a new understanding or perspective on existence and consciousness. Next up, we have the rising water levels. This prediction concerning rising water levels aligns with modern concerns about climate change and the melting of polar ice caps. Nostradamus' 16th century writings are cryptic and metaphorical, but some have drawn some interpretations that show that perhaps his ideas were aligning with contemporary issues. One quatrain that some interpreters have linked to the idea of rising water levels is Century 1, Quatrain 69. "A mile-wide mount strikes the world's greatest city. In the Aegean Sea, an earthquake strikes. Poisonous flood waters to submerge all. Nothing survives. The wave reaches the old." Damn, that one sounds dark. Coming up next, we have the invasion of Europe. One of the quatrains often cited in discussions about a possible future invasion of Europe is Century 2, Quatrain 29. Quote, "The Easterners will leave his seat. The Apennine Mountains run down the length of Italy, suggesting this Eastern power will move through Italy into France, implying a broad invasion route that affects multiple countries in Europe. The specific mention of France could symbolize Western Europe more generally. Quote, "He will transpire the sky, the waters, and the snow." This line might signify a wide-reaching impact of this leader's actions, affecting the natural elements and suggesting a dramatic and perhaps devastating campaign. Quote, "And everyone will be struck with his rod." This could imply that the leader wields significant power or influence, impacting all he encounters. The rod might symbolize authority, military power, or influence. And finally, rounding out our list today, we have a catastrophic event, one of the very intriguing quatrains that have been interpreted in various ways, pointing to an event that hasn't been clearly linked to any past occurrences, is Century 10, Quatrain 72, which often garners attention for its supposed reference to a future event. Quote, "The year 1999, 7th month, from the sky will come a great king of terror, to bring back to life the great king of the Mongols, before and after Mars to reign by good luck." Despite the specific date mentioned, the interpretation of this quatrain has stretched beyond 1999, as nothing that directly correlated to the king of terror coming from the sky materialized in that year. The reference to the great king of Mongols is particularly cryptic and has led to numerous speculative interpretations, ranging from the resurgence of a powerful leader or ideology associated metaphorically with the Mongol Empire's expansive and impactful nature to something more esoteric and symbolic. After 1999 passed without an event that universally matched this prediction, interpreters began viewing the quatrain as either metaphorically pointing to a different time or as just a failed prophecy. I'll leave it up to you to decide. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!